Hello, everyone. Welcome to my go-to shoe, Faith, Hope, and Love, a journey through loss, live on, strengthen soul. And of course, before we get started, like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification button so you know when I'm coming back. Okay, so let's get started. I hope you all had a great 4th of July weekend, and things went well for you. I know it's been a little tough. We've had a lot of things going on in the world today, so it's been tough. But we're going to keep moving forward no matter what. Keep moving forward. Anyway, as I said, we're going to get back to the 7 stages of grief. And this is now we're about to embark upon depression. That is the 5th stage of grief, depression. We've already went through shock, denial, anger, and bargaining. So now we're at number 5, and we're into depression. And, depression, that's a low point in someone's life. It's so low, you're in that place where you just can't seem to get out of being down. It's deeper than a deep sadness. It's deeper than just sadness. It's sadness beyond measure. And in many cases, if you're at that point, you really do need to seek professional help. And even if you're in a short stage, you still might need professional help. Because I think the sooner that you start to talk about it, the easier it'll be to get through it. And some people, it's in their DNA. It's part of their family history. They have that depression, and sometimes it's hard to escape. But if you get some assistance, you'll get different tools to help you navigate that depression. Something that's not an easy thing to do. So anyway, the one way, and I always speak to myself. And I don't know if you can see if the lighting is that bad. I'm going to turn it this way. I don't know. I don't know if let me just speak to when I have had, I would say, depression, where I consider depression in my life. Typically when I am, and I'm going to say that I get down, but let me just speak to the grief portion of it, when the sadness with grief, in reference to loss. And that I could say could be just any type of loss. I always mention that there's that loss of a family loved one, but then there's also the loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of a job. Those are all very significant losses. A person, when it's somebody that you love, it steps it up a bit. It steps it up quite a bit, actually. But I know that we tend to want to isolate ourselves. The one thing that I did when I was in that loss of a loved one, when it was especially with Hollis, I actually I took a break. Not for long though. I took a break for 2 months, and one of the things I did that helped me, I think, I went to church, but I didn't go to my church. I went to another church because I wanted to be in a place that no one knew me. No one knew me. They I might know them casually, but actually where I went, I didn't know anybody. At least if I did, I didn't see anyone when I attended. And I went there every Sunday until January. So for 2 months, I kind of laid low, you might say. I was quiet, and I just kind of went to that church and came back and sat. And I remember talking to that pastor, and because they had asked people to come up for prayer, and I remember going up for prayer, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I just wanted to tell everybody my story at that time. If anybody talked to me for for more than 5 minutes, I had to mention that I just lost my son. I'd always mention that. Don't ask me why, but maybe that's a good thing actually. But that pastor was so kind. He was kind, and him and his wife, they both just prayed. And this is the thing about knowing God and God's messengers and God's preachers, God's pastors, because when you approach them, they seek God before they respond to you. They seek God. So it comes, you know you're going to get a good prayer through. A good prayer is going to come on your behalf to God. So, you know the Lord hears your prayers, but sometimes you just want someone else to intervene for you in that instance. So, I don't know why I've got these glasses on, but my eyes bother me for some reason. Anyway, let me take these glasses off. Anyway, so I went, like I said, I went to another church for 8 weeks, until month of November, December, and I came back to my church in January. And actually I came back and I got right back involved with everything. I was involved with everything, and so, I just kept it moving. And, personally for me, I think that was a good thing. I think that's what I needed to do. But, you know, everyone is different. Everyone needs something different. They might not need what I needed, but I needed to be back in that place of the church and in my own environment so that I could hear from God too. So I could hear from God. So depression is it's a place where there's a lot of things that go on with a person when they're going through a loss. And one of those things, you start to have lack of interest in things you used to do. Lack of interest. You just don't want to do it. You don't want to go to church. You don't want to go to the game. You don't want to go to a movie. You don't want to do the things that you used to do. Whatever you used to do, you kind of put a hold on it. And sometimes if the hold is for a short period of time, that's not too bad, you know, a few weeks, a couple months. But when you start to put that hold on your life for months on end, then you get into that place of paralysis that I always mention, that place of paralysis where you don't move forward. So the lack of interest is one. Another area is that you just don't feel like getting dressed. You don't want to get up. You want to just stay in bed, and you think if you put the cover over your head, you stay in bed, that maybe when you wake up, that everything will be over. But the thing is, when you wake up, it's still the same. Everything is still the same. Nothing has changed. So when you think about that nothing's changed, you've got to start with yourself. I had to start with Pauline. You have to start with who you are to move forward in that pain. Because one thing about pain and depression, pain doesn't go away. But you do find ways to move around it, right? You find ways to continue your life the way you need to, like getting back to work. You might have to go back to work, and so if you go back to work, you get back into that pattern of going to work every day, and you get those short accomplishments. The one short accomplishment you get by the mere fact that you got up, got dressed, got showered, got changed, and you went into wherever it is that you have to go to work. That's that change. That's that moving forward that has to take place. But one of the things, other than lack of interest, because that lack of interest goes with, I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like going to church. I don't feel like having that conversation with my friends, with my children. You just don't feel like doing the things that you used to do. And what you have to be mindful of, if it lasts for a few weeks, well, okay, a few weeks, you can get through a few weeks if you start to see yourself come out of it. But when you are in that state for weeks, and then weeks become months, and months become years, then you're in a serious, full-blown depression when you really need some real help. And as I always say, you know, I can only give you my perspective, but when you see yourself going there, you need to really seek that good advice from a doctor, from a therapist. You know, the first point of contact could be your pastor. You can talk to your pastor and say, you know, this is what I'm feeling. they can tell you, well, here are some tools that can help you along until you get to that professional help. Because sometimes I don't know that it helps when people just read this. For some people, it's not going to help to just read something. They need to talk it out. I always speak to that scripture: "Be anxious for nothing, but be in prayer and supplication for everything, making your requests known to God." The reason I love that scripture is because it speaks to anxiety. Be anxious for nothing, and start to pray about it. So when you start to pray, if you can pray about it, that's a start. And I know sometimes people can't even pray. They can't even pray about it. And that's when I always say, just say his name. Just say Jesus. Just say Jesus. Until you can move past that particular pit that you feel that you're going down, or that you're in. Just that pit that you feel is taking you under. And this will work when you're not in a full-blown, serious depression. Excuse me for wiping my nose, but I have this problem with the constant running of the nose, and you all know that because I've talked about that before. Anyway, getting past that, so depression is something that is a symptom a lot of times of a traumatic event in our lives, and truth be known, people are going through trauma right now. They're going through some trauma right now because some things in their lives have changed dramatically from what they were accustomed to. Some real things have transpired that they have no control over, and that's typically what happens when you get depressed. What has happened in your life is something that you or we have had no control over. And in this place that we're in life, we like to be in control. I'm just saying, we are sometimes in control of so many aspects of our lives. So when all of a sudden it becomes where we're not in control, you really feel like you're out of sorts. Because you can't do anything about bad news. You can't, if they tell you that that your job is done, all you can do is walk out. That's all. That's all you can do, is take your papers and whatever you have, it's time to go. And even though inside you're full of turmoil, this is when we really have to use those statements I always say. That's when you have to really trust God and trust the process that He's allowing us to go through. And we have no idea what the outcome is. We have no idea what the outcome is or what it's going to be. But we still have to trust Him. It's not easy. I'm not saying that any of this is easy to trust God, because when you see things happening that you don't have control over and that you can't change, what can you change? What can you change? I can change me. You can change you. If we want to control anything, we can control our own behavior if we can. Like I said, depending on what kind of depression you're in, what state you're in, there's some things where you're going to definitely need professional help, but there's some things that we can do to help change ourselves into a better mindset and a better way of thinking. And one of those ways, is through your prayer life. I always talk about that intimate, vertical, personal relationship. The closer we get to Him, the closer we get to moving forward and seeing transformation in our own personal lives. Because the only person that I can really control is Pauline. I can't control your behavior. You can't control my behavior. I'm going to do some things that you don't like. I'm going to do some things you don't like. But you can't do anything about that. You may do some things to me I just don't like. But there's nothing I can do. You may go some places I wish you wouldn't go. I may go some places you wish I wouldn't go. But you can't change people, because people are who they are, and people do what they want to do. And that's why you have to recognize who you are and who you belong to, so that you can do better. And I always say, if you know better, you do better. And so I think about that, because when as I'm maturing up this ladder of life, as I become a mature adult, There's some things I wish I had known before that I know now that, well, you know what, let me take this back. There's some things that I knew not to do, but I did it anyway. There's some things that I knew not to do, but I did it anyway. Were there consequences to my actions? Absolutely, there are consequences to our actions. So that's what happens when you start to learn who you are and begin to really know who you belong to, who that intimate personal relationship is with. We do better. We do better. And you'll see some changes in yourself. And that's when you begin to say, okay, God, I get it. I can see some changes. I can see some things that I'm doing better than I did before. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But depression is a very serious mental disorder. Serious depression. And like I said, grief brings on depression. But when the depression lasts over weeks, months, and years, it's time to get some help. And really don't wait till those months and years. Get that help, excuse me, get that help immediately. Because the sooner you get the help, the better off you're going to be, and you're going to feel better, and you're going to do better. So, the word depression, it's a word that I don't think we like to talk about, because nobody wants to be in a depressed state. No one wants that. But when you get so low, and you can't get out of bed, and you don't want to shower when you get up in the morning and start your day. Because let me share this with you. When you rise in the morning and you get in that shower and then you lotion up your body and you do all the things that it takes to get ready for your day, whether you're going to work, whether you're staying home, all through the pandemic, I got up every morning. I showered every day. I put my creams on. And then I've sprayed myself with my favorite cologne every single day. I still do that to this day because that's who I am. But that helped me feel better every day. So for starters, that doesn't cost you anything. A bar of soap, it costs you money to run your shower, of course, but really it doesn't cost you anything to get up in the morning and take that shower, get dressed, put on some clean clothes. Now that might seem very simple, a real simple thing to do, but it's not simple for everybody. And we can't judge anyone, and we can't say, why don't they do? No, don't say that. Just tell people, if you need some help, it's time to get help. If someone in your family is not getting dressed in the morning every single day, even if it's your grandma, somebody older who they do feel, older people a lot of times feel as though they're not needed anymore. You got to make them feel their worth too. You got to help them along the way. And older people, it's even harder because this thing about seeing a therapist, what do you mean? God been taking care of me all my life. I don't need no therapist. Well, let me tell you something. I don't care how old you are. You still need your therapist. And the reason you need the therapist is this reason being, people don't really talk about what's going on the inside. They don't talk about it. So that's why, and I know that, you can talk to the Lord, and I know you hear from him. I know the Spirit moves within you. We know that. But you have got to see, there's things that you might not tell God that you might be able to tell your therapist. And then once you tell your therapist, and the thing about it is this, these areas in our lives that we don't want to share with anyone, God knows them anyway. So even if you don't say it to him, he knows it. But if you're a person who really is good about getting your words out to the Lord when you in your prayer life, and I say when you talk to God, it's just like I'm talking to you right now. It's a communication back and forth. Sometimes you have to listen. Sometimes you have to listen to what he's saying. You can't just babble and keep talking and not and get some answers. And sometimes you're waiting for an answer. You poured out your soul to him, and you're waiting for your answer, and there's silence. There's total silence. Don't be anxious about the silence. Just know that you're not ready for the answer. Because when you're ready for the answer, God is going to give it to you. He is going to give it to you. So, I'm just here to just share a little bit this afternoon or today, on this beautiful sunny day. And I hope that you know that God is just doing a miracle in your lives, unbeknownst to yourselves. And maybe you do know he's doing a miracle in your life, and you probably do. But God is ready to do even more for each one of us. But we have to be open to what he has in store for each one of us. So, on that note, this is going to conclude depression. And the free part of it, it's free to talk to God. Number one, it's always free to talk to God. It's free to write in your journal about what you're going through. It's free to take a walk and talk to God while you're walking in nature. Because like right now, I'm out here at the park and the sky is blue and the grass is green and the sun is shining. I can take a nice long walk after this conversation with you all and just let God minister to me. And that's what he wants to do for each one of us. So that's the free stuff. Now, if you need to go to a therapist, what I would say, don't walk. I would say run to the therapist. Get on the phone and call people. Call the agencies that you know just who people are good at what they do. Because don't just go to anybody. Even that, like I said, pray for that as well, who you go to. I think I mentioned that last time. Because depression is very serious. And you don't want to be in there for a long period of time. So, on that note, I'm saying, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. May God continue to strengthen you for this journey that we are on. I love you, I love you, I love you. And again, like, subscribe, and share. Touch the notification button so you know when I'm coming back. Love y'all. See you soon. Bye-bye.